Welcome to the Gloves Are Up Overtime Edition. I'm Moses Waldu. I'm pleased to be joined by Greg Buchanan, my co-host.
Hey, Moses.
And Rod Kirby. You are the president of minor football here in the city, as well as the Red Dogs coach.
Yep, you bet. Thanks.
And congratulations, by the way, once again, for making it to Tier 1, first time in the program's history.
Yeah, you bet. We're really excited to kick things off.
Of course, that's going to be late March.
Yeah, it's Saturday the 29th in Spruce Grove against St. Albert.
All right on. Hopefully you'll have a great season to come. How about great seasons? I want to talk about Wichita State. Wichita State was a team that went undefeated, won their first round matchup, met a tough Kentucky squad. Despite being an 8th seed, I don't think they should have been, but that's how they're ranked. And being one of the tougher matchups, came down to a final shot. Wichita State lost. But with the respect that you have for Kentucky, would it be safe to say that maybe we should give Wichita State, some leeway? They had a tough group, the way the bracket would have gone down. And for being a number 1 seed and the way their season went, and despite their grouping and some of the teams they faced before, it was actually a pretty good season. We shouldn't take anything away from them.
Yeah, they're not the first number 1 seed to ever go down. They had a great season, went undefeated. Was it 32-0?
Yeah.
32-0. I mean, anytime a team goes 32-0, I don't care who they're playing. They're still playing Division I schools. So it's an amazing accomplishment. The fact that they could be in there night in and night out and won 32 games in a row, it's a great accomplishment. They lost to Kentucky, which is always a powerhouse, and it was one shot, like you said.
I don't know how they set up the brackets in March Madness, but some teams do have a pretty easy road to the March. And Wichita was, they were 32-0, but they play against some teams that are pretty suspect. It's kind of somewhat similar in high school football sometimes. You play in a weaker league, you're just rolling over teams, and then you head up to Edmonton, it's like, ouch. That was painful, and that's what happens. And sometimes you have a lesser likes, and you end up playing against a pretty good team in Kentucky, and just things didn't fall into place.
Well, things didn't fall in place there, but Mark Cuban had some choice words that maybe will fall in place down the line. Of course, he mentioned that the NFL will implode in a decade, saying that these guys are too fat and these hogs are going to go to the slaughter, that eventually this big bubble we know as the NFL is eventually going to burst. Do you guys buy that, or is this just some talk that Mark Cuban is just throwing out?
Mark Cuban likes listening to himself talk. And Mark Cuban, huge ego, has his own TV show, has his own NBA team. How many people can say that? I just think that Mark Cuban likes to kind of stir the pot and see, I'm going to throw this off to the NFL and see what kind of reaction I get. Is the NFL listening? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, like Greg said, he likes to hear himself talk. He's a very opinionated guy. It's not the first time he's come out with controversial statements. Some of the things that he highlighted in his points, were valid. But it's something that the NFL executives haven't already thought about. I mean, these guys are world-class businessmen, and look at what they've developed in the last 15 years in the NFL, what they've accomplished. I'm sure they've already thought of everything that he was saying, so I don't think it's news to them.
Quickly, guys, Montreal is going to be the home for the Toronto Blue Jays for 2 exhibition games coming Friday night and Saturday. Do you see baseball? They've already sold out the tickets. There's a huge demand for it. Do you see baseball actually making a return somewhere in the future to baseball? Do you see it in Montreal?
I heard stories that Warren Cromartie is one of the ones, a former player that's in Montreal, trying to get backers, trying to get a downtown stadium. I would love to see it. I'm a Cubs fan. Sorry about that, but I'm a Cubs fan. But
Sorry about
that. But I skipped out of school at Central Collegiate in Regina to watch Black Monday at Foot Locker at Cornwall Center in Regina.
Rick Monday.
Old Black Monday. And so, I love the Expos. I love those days and watching the Expos. But a lot of things are not going to help fall into place for it to go back to Montreal again.
Yeah, well, actually, I was an Expos fan, and I was an Expos fan when they moved.
Yeah.
So I was a little disappointed on that, and it's taken some time to get over it. I've just, learned to live with the Jays and cheer for them even once in a while, but I'd love to see it get back into Montreal. I think it would be great, and I think that city can support a Major League Baseball franchise. They have in the past. There was a lot of circumstances.
That stadium and ownership, it was very depleted. Yeah. And it really made for a bad situation worse.
It's going to take for a lot of things to go right, but I sure hope to see it.
Well, I'm also a former Expo fan myself. Had translated to Washington. Hasn't really been that fantastic. But
try being a Cubs fan.
Oh,
th-
you've had a
I'll try that
long
one.
road.
What was the curse of the goat or something?
Oh yeah, it's maybe in the next 50 years we might.
Maybe
do
you guys
it.
bring in a new goat. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Greg. Again, thanks a lot, Rod.
Yeah,
We
thank you.
appreciate you guys as well for joining us on the OT edition of Gloves. You tune in every Tuesday night, 7:30 CITL, and the questions we miss, we bring them back on here. In the meantime, we will see you in 7 days.